Good morning, I'm Matthew Burbage and I'm joined here this morning by Ayanda Peta, the CISO for African Rainbow Minerals. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Tell me about your role at ARM.
So I'm responsible for cybersecurity for the group. So charting the strategy of the group in terms of what we need to do in managing the cyber risk in the environment. You know, from all our operations, both from an IT perspective and also from an operational technology, sort of OT perspective. What initiatives to put in place to address and manage it, and defend against potential attacks into the environment. So that will be my responsibility, defining strategy and ensuring the execution of that strategy across the group.
Okay, so would it be similar to like a manufacturing company?
There are similar issues for sure in respect of the operational technology side of things. Manufacturing environment, you come up with the product at the end of the day. Those type of environments are not necessarily the same as IT. Traditionally, we know it's almost business as usual in how we defend IT environments, but that is not the case when it comes to operational technology environments, which is applicable in both manufacturing and in the mining sector. There you need to be a little bit more cautious because you would understand that both from a mining and from a manufacturing perspective, the thing of people safety really is high up.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be doing things that impact production line or impact the operations, and then has an adverse impact maybe on the people factor. So you want to make sure the security that you apply is considered in terms of the environment and the fact that you've got a good understanding of what the environment looks like, what are the assets that are there, how are those assets operating, what do they do, and what level of security do you need to apply against those assets, depending obviously on the risk that it poses in the business and the value that asset has for business. More so in the operational technology space, it becomes quite important.
Yeah, I mean, I know mines are obsessed with safety.
Absolutely, it's critical.
Yeah,
it's important.
Because, I mean, it is such a dangerous job, just inherently. But so talk to me about that operational technology. I mean, what kind of technology have you got on your mines? And they're in Rustenburg, right?
There's a couple of Malanga, Limpopo, Northern Cape, etc. So in those areas, that's where we're.
And is it mainly PGM metals, or is it?
It's a mixture. PGMs, iron ore, manganese.
Okay.
So I think those are the things that we are in from.
So speaking about that operational technology, what kind of technology have you got in your mines?
So OT, I mean, there's a key to any OT environment. You talk about the industrial control systems, which then the systems that manage the manufacturing in the manufacturing side, but on the mining side, that ensure that from pit to port process in getting that precious metal out of the ground and all the way to the port. That process is actually secure. And we speak from a cybersecurity perspective. We speak of the fact that there are certain levels of security that you need to apply in the OT environment. And from a level 1 to level 2 perspective, you want to ensure that environment is actually segmented from your normal IT environment. That's like the first level of protection you need to apply. And then inside the environment, you want to make sure that you've got consistent eyes and ears from a networking perspective, what is happening inside, the critical assets like your SCADAs, your PLCs, etc. Do you know what happens with them? Do you know what type of communication do they have in the network? So therefore you need a tool, you need a security tool in there that listens to that and that can protect against stuff and that has an understanding. And therefore there's quite a variety of tools that the industry have.
Like what? Can you mention any of them? Or?
I'm not sure if I can mention, but
No, you can. Please, go ahead.
So there's a couple. I mean, there's Force Scout, there's Nozomi, there is Darktrace, there is Clarity. Just from the top of my mind, those are some of the four that I know of.
Okay.
Play in that space where they can give you those eyes on visibility. And then if you go a level up in terms of, just from a framework of what you need to do to protect an OT environment or an ICS environment, you can go up to say you now need to actually go, depending on what's on your risk, to go and do a micro-segmentation where you go deep, not just segment and monitor, but you go deep and actually say these assets need to be put on the side, these assets need to be separated this way. You go piecemeal type of segmentation in order to reduce your risk of a potential lateral movement when it comes to a cyber attack even further. If you get compromised in certain area of the business or the OT environment, that doesn't spread across to other areas. In that way you manage your risk.
Have you ever had a breach?
So we haven't had a breach in the environment. We have minor incidents that we obviously address on a day-to-day basis. We've got a managed security services that protects and responds to our incidences, like a SOC, for instance.
Okay.
So you'd have analysts that manage the environment and respond to those incidents. So we've had quite a few incidents. We've got quite a few cyber responses that.
So would those have been anything is so it doesn't have to be a breach, but is it would it be like an internal?
Yeah, it would be like a phishing thing that comes through. That there was a couple of phishing emails that came through and got identified by users. Maybe report them to us.
Yeah,
we respond to them, etc.
So, how many people work at the company that you have to look after?
Now, when organization is always probably plus minus 10,000.
So is this including?
That's a big show.
Yeah, that's including minus.
Yeah, it's a big show.
But your actual staff at admin,
I think you're looking at about 4,000 to 5,000, about 5,000 in fact, in terms of the actual users that I would like to call the users that use emails, if I would put it that way.
Okay.
Because obviously, if you are using an email, then you are an attack vector. When it comes to, you are quite a high attack vector.
I wouldn't have thought it would be that many people.
It's actually quite that many people.
What do they all do there?
It's different things. It obviously you've got different profiles of users. You might have a user that just accesses the emails for users for the sake of just getting maybe their payslip or whatever they require, all the way up to a user that actually develops, works in our development environment, where they then do quite advanced things. So that list of users is that variety from a profile perspective.
And do you do any cybersecurity training with your people?
Absolutely, quite critical. We do it on a regular basis. We recently finished one, and we do it every year. It is quite important that we keep our users vigilant when it comes to the nature of cyber attacks. More importantly, the nature of phishing attacks that can do. How to identify those phishing attacks and what the process is in order to report those. So we definitely do that regularly.
And what form does that take? I mean, is it do you do you try and fish them? Which vendor are you using?
It takes two forms.
Okay.
It takes two forms. The first form is educate and make aware. Both using where users can take training at their own, obviously with the deadline at their own discretion, and then where we do live sessions, give the users an opportunity to actually be able to interact with the cybersecurity team and ask questions, and then the other leg is then simulating the phishing to the users and understand, and just giving them, and for us to understand, what is the phish prone rate of our users, and how has that improved with the training that you've done over the period?
Yeah, it's very. Which vendor are you using for your training?
I think mostly people are using before.
Right before. Hey, that name has been mentioned so often in this little booth.
I'm sure people are using
Yeah. We have to. We need to probably use them as well. Okay, well, thanks very much, Ayanda. I mean, I just kind of, the phrase you say, from pit to port. That's a nice way of describing, the value chain.
Yeah, the value chain is very important, and you protect that value chain. And
and if you never had an incident like with any OT system going down or anything, I mean, if you haven't had a breach in your OT system?
We've had instances where OT asset goes down, but not necessarily a breach, but it goes down from an availability perspective. Or when our segmentation being in place, a system is unable to connect, for instance, and potentially impacting the business in terms of just addressing or doing the necessary operations, and those we respond to on a regular basis where they do arise.
How do you interact with your risk and compliance department?
Quite closely.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah,
that is a close relationship all the time. Very important. You cannot a business that interlock between IT as a whole, including cyber and enterprise risk, is quite key for business. Because if the risk of cyber is that high, then enterprise risk needs to make sure that there is that second defense in terms of ensuring that we are putting the necessary controls in place to manage these risks. And then enterprise risk ensures that we go together in going back to business and reporting, but this just is actually being managed regularly.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on.